Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket queens. We are six-handed, 10 NL game. I get pocket queens first act. So I open raised at 3, folds around small blind. I think my mid position raising hand would include all the suited aces, but we're first to act, basically under the gun in the six-handed game. I kind of feel like bigger hands, Broadways do better than some of these smaller hands. So I kind of got rid of those. I got rid of some of these weaker ones. Just going to play a little bit tighter, 17%, and see what happens. We get called by the small blind. The small blind's playing 50% of this hands right now, but that's out of 16 hands total at this table. So he's been loose, hasn't really raised. He's raised once out of 16. He's called. I think this player's probably going to be pretty loose. Kind of hard to put together a range, but if he's playing 50% of the hands, he's probably playing something like this. And I'm going to assume he would 3-bet with queens plus, ace king and ace queen suited. I just assume that he would do that. I don't have any other real reason. He's 3-bet like 1 out of 8 times, but that's just kind of an assumption that normally if you raise, you're going to get 3-bet by hands like that. It doesn't have to be. We could probably add some weighting to him, so that we always give him a chance of just calling, but pretty wide range here. We see a flop at a7-3. Disappointed in that hand because we have queens, obviously. Would be disappointed if an ace or a king flops. So it's not the greatest. Well, I should say I'm disappointed I didn't flop trips. You always want to flop trips. Villain checks. We look at his range. He's got a lot of hands that miss here. A lot of hands that he could probably continue with. I kind of feel like a player this loose is probably going to continue with any pair. So if we bet, I kind of feel like he's going to continue. He's going to at least call once with any pair here. We'll give him the open ender. Probably give him a gut shot. Let him call with a gut shot, something like that. That's 50%. It means he's going to fold 50% of the time. So we can bet with a wide range of hands. Expect him to fold about 50% of the time, but when he calls, he'll have a bunch of weak hands. So, depending on what the turn is, if the turn's, let's say, a king, or the turns, let's say pairs the board. I think he's not going to be able to withstand 2 bets, usually. So I feel like we're going to be betting hands like top pair plus. I think we're going to be betting all of these pocket pair less than the top cards. I just think this board kind of helps our range too much to just go by and check. Now, are all of these values? Probably not. I think we're getting some semi-bluffs here with 8s, 9s, and 10s. We're trying to buy some equity here. All of those under ones, under pairs. We're going to do the gut shots. Probably the backdoor, 2-card backdoor flushes. So any of our cards that kind of have a diamonds, 2 diamonds, 2 clubs, 2 hearts, I think would be sufficient, with the idea that if he calls and we catch one of those, we could probably continue. Well, I mean, we could definitely continue. The question is, do we bet or do we just check behind and go for the flush? I think it kind of depends on the ranking of the card. I think it somewhat depends on the ranking of the card. So I do bet. I bet half pot. That's probably okay. Half pot. Maybe go a little bit larger. Kind of apply a little bit more pressure with the idea that I do think he's probably going to be calling these. So why not bet larger, get him to call, because then he'll just give up. So kind of increase our EV by going a little bit larger. And he does call. So we've got our hand. We've got villain, or we have our range, we have villain's range. We go to the turn, king of diamonds. I think that usually is going to help us more than villain. I think now, if he checks to us, we're still betting. I feel like we're still betting top pair for value plus. I think we could bet our flush draw. Not all of these flush draws are just semi bluffs. Obviously, if we have the ace, we've got value there. I think we semi bluff the gut shots. And then, I mean, there's always a chance. If villain shows aggression, if it shows that he tends to have an aggressive side, then if we have the diamond, we don't really want to bet here, get raised off our flush. Although 14's in the pot, he only has 36 big blinds left. We bet he comes over the top. We're probably, it might be close. We might be getting close to the odds needed to draw. So we just have to be willing to do that. And if we get to check raise, we're probably behind. We're going to probably need that diamond draw. Middle pair, I think we've got some value with our middle pair hands. So like with all of those, that includes the weak pair. So if we go with our no made hand, question is, what other hands do we use to like turn into some of our bluffs? I think the gut shots include those. Maybe these. We don't really have anything. You know, we're not really gonna. There's nothing really that we could improve. We could just use those as a bluff and just be aggressive. Because again, that ace hits our hand. But we do have to consider now that if we bet and he calls, he probably has an ace. And we're just gonna have to be done with the hand. So what happens? Villain checks. That's okay. I bet 7. I think that's okay. Let's get these turned off. So we've got hands like that. I think queens. I think we turn this into a bluff, and we probably shouldn't have with the queens. So I think that's kind of a mistake. And villain calls. So we have his call set here. Now it's looking like we're going to be behind big time. 5 of spades comes out. With our hand, we're just going to have to check it down. Hope. I really don't see what villain would be calling with here. Maybe a gut shot, and that's a note. We check behind. We see his hand. If he has a gut shot, if he has, let's say, a 5-6, 5-4, we take note that he's willing to call twice on a gut shot draw, because then we could just keep value betting. We would bet our pairs, our middle pairs, like we did here, because we know villain's gonna have some of these draws. And if he has those gut shots, he probably also has like the bottom pair and the middle pair hands too, so we could really value bet him. So villain's top pair plus is going to be my guess. Villain checks. I do check. What kind of hands do I bet for value here? I bet sets. I bet 2 pair for value. And I do think we're going to be betting top pair for value. I don't think there's really much of a draw out there that villain could be calling with other than those gut shots. So I'm not sure. Like when we think about what's villain going to be calling with, I think all of these hands, that's 88, almost 89% of hands. He's folding 11% of the time. Because he's not really folding, I don't think we're really going to have a bluff range here. So top pair plus, I think. And probably not even all top pair. I think ace queen, maybe ace jack for value. Ace 10, I think we just check behind. Take the free showdown. So I checked, and that means I kind of have one of these hands here. And he shows a 6 of diamonds. So he did. He had top pair and he backed into a diamond draw. Does he have that? Yeah, he's got it. So let's go ahead and take some notes on him here. Call, I guess we'll do MP. Yeah, it's six-handed. Six-handed, call under the gun, 3 big blind RFI in SB with ace 6 of diamonds. And then he check called 50%, check call 50%, and then check on ace of clubs, 7 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, king of diamonds, 5 of spades. All right, so we've got that. Took the notes down. Overall, I don't like my turn bet. I think we should be just checking that. But what I did do is I checked this out on GTO, see what it suggests. So GTO has villain checking, no big deal, no big surprise. And then it has us betting 75%. That is about where we were at. It has us betting basically hands all across the range. There wasn't any like hand that we weren't betting. Certain hands we were betting more likely to check, and I think kings and queens, these middle pairs are kind of interesting. The kings especially. So I guess if we check the kings, we're probably not going to be betting the turn on those. So it looks like it's okay for the queens that we actually bet. It's arguing for maybe 60-40. 60 bets, 40 checks versus kings. So I wonder why we do that. So let's check that out. So we do kings. If villain bets here, then we're going to raise with trip kings. We're going to raise with trip aces. Okay, so I could see that. Did he? Oh, we do have a small percentage. Excuse me. Small percentage of checking. So let's try something different on it too. If he bets, we call with those hands. Okay. What about a 5? He check. I'm sorry. We bet. He bets. We call. Okay. So kind of we can check call those. Let's change to like a 5 of clubs. He bets. We still call. So I think we check behind. He bets. We still call with those pocket pairs. And then, so we check. He bets. We call. Let's throw 2 hearts out there, something low. If he bets again, we're still calling. I guess we're protecting against him him betting under pairs or just betting because we showed weakness. That kind of makes sense. We bet, and villain called here. So that's how it actually played out. And then he checked to us, which is mostly correct. And then it's up to us. What should we do? And here you can see that those hands that we were betting, those under pairs, yeah, GTO is now recommending that we check those. And that's where I said I think that was a mistake. We bet, he called. Good chance that he's going to have an ace, and actually it makes up quite a bit of his range. I think our hand's a little too strong to try to turn it into a bluff. We do have some of these weak pairs that we're betting, like 4s and 5s we're betting. We're turning some of those into bluffs. Just to try to balance out like some of our 3 of a kinds. Like we still have aces in here. Some of our aces. Obviously ace of diamonds looks like we're checking. My guess is that if we have the ace of diamonds, it blocks villain from having it. So if we don't have the ace of diamonds, we could bet it. Well, It doesn't look like, I think all of our aces are checks here. Huh. I guess we're including those trip aces. Okay. Say we check and he bets. What do we call with? Well, we're raising aces at that point. Okay, so we kind of reserve them and kind of protect our checking range. We do mostly call when he bets at that time. That was a 5 of spades. Let's go to 5 of spades. He checks, we check behind. Okay, if we bet, or if he bets, looks like queens are folding. I was kind of thinking that. We bet, he calls, it goes check, check. He bets half, or he bets about 2/3 pot, 75%, I guess. And then we fold queens. So I'm not too far on it. I think the turn was the mistake. What happens if this is a diamond? It goes check, check, diamond comes, he checks, we still check behind. Okay, I see that. If we bet though, then we're mostly, we start to call a little bit more. Looks like we're more likely to call if we have a diamond, because it'll make it less likely that he actually has a diamond draw. Maybe he's playing us. What if it's a high card? What if it was a jack? Still, we've connected a little bit more. We've got 2 pair, top pair that we're calling with. All right. So, yeah, on this hand, c-bet looks okay. I'll go back to here. I think the kings is probably the most important, most surprising thing. Ace 8, ace 9, not too surprising. Those top pair, lower kicker, think we can check those. I think we had those. I think we talked about that. So let's go back to here. I think we said when it comes down to top pair, we could use these as like our checking. Actually, maybe that was a turn where we could use those as our checking range. Same applies here. I think we're going for maximize EV, because if we keep those in our checking range, it helps guard against this situation where he just goes ahead and fires into us. And then we have reason to call with the top pair hand, because villain's going to be betting, or GTO has him betting several different hands. Now, in real life, is he betting with these frequencies? No, probably not. And actually, he's probably betting at a higher frequency than what he should. So he's betting like 10% here. Some of these players might be going 25%, 50%, maybe 75% in that case. So, all right, let's wrap up this hand. To get it marked. Pre-flop, I think, is okay. We did have the diamond, queen of diamonds. So, yeah, if a diamond fell, we probably could call if he leads into us. But overall, pre-flop, I think, is fine. I think flop is okay. Got to remember, don't bet the kings. Turn, I think, is where I made the mistake. I lost some more money than what I should. I think if it goes check, check, we got 5 spades and he checks again, I think we just check down, which is what we should be doing. We did that part. We didn't do the turn check, which is a mistake. Cost us some money. So, all right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.